I bloody did it, lads. I got the Oasis tickets. Actual fucking Oasis. I'm shaking, swear down.
Welcome to the Mad For It podcast. The boys on the road to Oasis Live in 2025. And tomorrow, the boys are back for the first time in 16 years. Friday, Cardiff. What have we got to say about that?
Unbelievable.
I remember 2009 like it was yesterday.
There we go.
Hearing the news of them breaking up. Years from now, being like, well, if he wants to call me, maybe we could do it. Then the divorce.
And then Peg, his mum, saying oh, go on, lads. Go on, get back together.
I saw that
It was
today.
in the news, wasn't it? Yeah.
She's like,
Yes, it was me. I did it.
it's like, all right, maybe you did.
So thanks for that, Peg. Anyway, tomorrow, the big day.
Yeah,
How
I
we
can't
feeling?
believe you feel like 16 years ago was yesterday. I feel like the start of this podcast was a lifetime ago.
Yeah, that is
So, yeah, my timings and yours clearly aren't in sync.
It's like specific. Yeah, like I think it's like 2009 at Leeds Festival, the Thursday or the Friday morning here in the news. The first episode of this podcast was like, that was before Leeds Festival, 2009. Yeah, I have the same feeling as you. Like, but yeah, we've got a lot of stuff happening in the Oasis.
There's
World
so
Tour.
much happening.
There's a
now.
lot happening.
We've got a lot of stuff happening in the Oasis.
There's a lot happening.
Oasis
There's
World
so
Tour.
much happening. We've had like a dearth of news at points, especially like in the early part of this year. There's actually so much going on now.
There's so much going
It's
on.
it's actually happening.
Well, we got the first advert. We got the Adidas advert
We did
and the merch that's come from that.
Yeah.
But in fact, if we're going to talk about that, why don't we just get into the right kind of costume?
Well, I couldn't get him online. I couldn't get
Yeah,
the merch online.
where did
you
you
get
get
the
them?
merch?
Where are you meant to get these from? Sold out on it.
Well, I've actually got a bit of a treat for you.
Okay.
Just bear with me. I'm going to do my fairy godmother
Okay.
nonsense. And 3, 2. Bloody hell!
How'd you sort these
There
out?
we are, boys.
Holy moly.
Doing the Lord's work for you.
Is it Christmas already?
Almost. It will be. Tomorrow's Christmas, yeah.
That's lovely quality.
Yeah, well, look at that. Look at that. It's
Bloody,
good
I'm ready to
stuff.
get my fucking
Very nice.
trainers on and run on the AstroTurf.
Take on Blur and that.
Five-side football, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Take on Blur, take on Blair. Do them all. Bloody
So what do
hell.
we think of the ad? The Adidas ad? That was this thing they were secretly filming. I'm sure we can cut back, even though I have to edit this one. We're going to cut back to the thing they secretly went to that house to do.
I mean,
Like-
it was kind of obvious, but it's kind of sad in it. That was the secret thing. It was just an advert.
It's just them looking at
We
down
knew
at the
it was
camera.
going to be.
Yeah.
Once it said, it's an Adidas thing, we're like, well, it's not going to be any music. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
collaboration. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take a genius to work that out. It's like pretty straightforward, but like, yeah. But I'll tell you what, when it got launched, gets announced after our last record, that night,
Yeah,
we
literally
get
that
home and
night.
it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Mm.
Oasis are teasing something with Adidas. Fucking hell. But yeah, we got it. Like,
Looking good, gents, I got to say.
It's,
Yeah.
it's pretty
Very
high
sharp.
quality stuff as well.
Yeah?
I mean, it's
nice.
It's Adidas stuff. It's
It's not the Amazon
20
stuff.
quid more than you'd normally pay for something from Adidas. That tends to be the rule of thumb with
Yeah.
it. Get the same jumper, 20 quid less,
Mhm.
but you don't
Yeah.
get the Oasis branding on it.
That's
This
it.
thing, bloody, I was like, went in. So funny enough, I went to the Oxford Circus store.
Yeah.
Because I saw that they had this whole little setup there. I've got some footage there if Tom wants to put it in. If he doesn't, he doesn't have to. And it was like, yeah, literally, they've got the sizes that I want. Went in, tried them on, was asking if they have other sizes. People are like fed up of hearing the question. They're like,
Fuck off, mate. I just you're like the seventh like middle-aged bloke to come in.
not even seven. There was guys flocking in there. There was Japanese tourists all
Nice.
getting all the bucket hats and stuff. It was
There's
great.
there's bucket hats.
Yeah,
I didn't even see
There
them.
was bucket.
Oh,
I
yeah.
should have
Oh, yeah.
texted them
Oh my
And there's
god.
sambas and there's
through.
everything in there.
The sambas weren't Oasis themed. They were just
Oh,
sambas.
they're just sambas.
Oh.
But yeah, tried them on. Had a little fashion show.
Yeah.
Texting Adam like, "Oh, do you want a t-shirt?" Tom was like, "No, you're all right." But
I spent so much
Not
on
not
this
obscure enough. This
Yeah.
band Oasis.
but I said I'd get a t-shirt at the gig, but I think I'll settle with this.
Yeah.
Job done.
It's-
I'm waiting for my bootleg t-shirt outside.
yeah,
but
I'll get
yeah.
one of them as well. I'll get
Yeah.
the dates on the back, the wrong seat.
Yeah, the wrong
Yeah.
way up.
Yeah.
Starts in Edinburgh.
Cage the Elephant are supporting what? Like casts about cust. Me and Adam have been to Glastonbury. Fucking this clobber. It's amazing.
There was quite a lot of people there in Oasis
Yeah,
shirts,
of
so
course there
clearly
was.
not individual.
Yeah, it's like, of course, everyone's going to be there. Like, I've seen videos before going, the guy's like, well, I've got to get it for Glastonbury. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just going to be everyone puke down it. Shit. It was
None of
covered
it
in
yours. Yeah.
But yeah, that's what you do. This is it. This is the boys of summer. This is the Oasis
Yeah,
summer.
this is what
Forget
Ryan
Brat
Adams
summer,
said.
Oasis summer.
That's it. Well, actually, we're here to talk about Noel Gallagher's solo discography, everything post Oasis for
Yeah.
Noel, which we haven't done. And this is technically our last episode where we're not going to be discussing live things coming from the gig.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Apart from next
Apart
week.
from next week.
Apart from
But
next
we'll
week.
yeah, apart from next week. But it's going to be very gig orientated going forward for the,
Yeah.
leading up
This
to
is
the
it.
gig. Then when we go on the 30th to Wembley,
Yeah.
and then our reaction and kind of recap of the whole thing from that.
I
So
wish we had one day till we were going to the gig. Like,
I know.
I
Yeah.
don't even think we could
I know.
contain our excitement if we were going to the gig. Then
Yeah.
it's
no,
like,
that'd be bonkers.
there's
wouldn't it?
people who won't sleep tonight. There's some of the guys who are starting the party early, but also there's people who are just, I can't wait. I've been waiting for this for 16,
16 years.
and it's going to happen.
Well, there's one thing for the people that are really eager. There's now a coach service available. This made me laugh. This came up because Ticketmaster today, it was like, there's local coaches coming in from Liverpool and
Yeah.
Manchester, and you can get from A to B. Can you imagine the state of those coaches? Like how just
Jolly boy outing.
mental is
It's
that
going
going
to
to
be
be?
amazing.
That is just going to be like "Don't Look Back in Anger" sung by.
It'd be like a mobile branch of Weatherspoons.
Yeah.
Just on wheels pulling in.
The toilets for number ones only. No solids.
No solids.
It's going to be full of sick.
Oh yeah,
Oh, mate. Just how many times can you sing Don't Look Back in Anger on one bus ride?
yeah. We're gonna wait.
Like, you're coming down from Hull. Like, it's just like, oh, my God.
So if you took a bus or you're going to take a bus, let us know how much carnage there was. Maybe we can send a video or whatever, and we can drop that in because I think that will be might be almost as much carnage as the gigs themselves. Because if
Yeah.
people just tire themselves out on
Yeah,
the
if you
coach.
survive that.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least you
That's
sat
it.
down for a bit.
So we are going to talk about Noel. We are going to talk about everything. We've divvied up the albums. There's 4 albums.
4 High Flying Birds albums.
So you've
And the
taken
best of.
And you did the best.
No, I didn't do the best. Well, I've heard all the songs on the best of, so we can tick that one off if you like.
So Adam's got 2 of the Noel albums. I took the second one, and Josh took the third one, I believe.
Noel Gallagher
So
albums.
we were talking earlier about how we want to rate these and rank these because obviously
Yeah.
we've already done this with Liam. Check that episode out if you haven't seen it. But I thought a good way to rank these and rate these would be to compare it to Out Your Soul.
Yes.
Which might be a little unfair because there's
Yeah.
something I want to say right at the top, and I hope it prevails all the way through for all of us, is that it's free of Oasis, right? So
Yeah.
you've got just go and have fun.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to do Oasis. We don't need the big baggy anthems. Just
Yeah.
make something fun. Just go in the desert and come back and just see what happens.
Yeah, just do
And that
you
was the
know.
attitude I went into with these, to just not really comparing it to Oasis, but I think Dig Your Soul could be a good barometer of
Yes,
like
I think
think
that's a
so.
great
the
barometer.
last thing that Oasis did
Yeah.
before he went out into the desert. Does it compare? Should it compare?
Yeah.
So, Ad, do you want to start us off? I believe you had the first album.
Yeah, and the self-titled first album.
Yeah. Do you want to speak to your relationship with Noel, perhaps this album?
Well, I think the first thing I wanted to say, though, was this comes out in 2011. Obviously, Oasis finished in 2009. So he hasn't gone away and, like, just stayed for that long. That's sort of like
Yeah.
getting it together, writing an album, doing it, like, bang, it's kind of out there quite quickly. So he's not hanging about. I get what you're saying about he should have just went and done something a bit wild. He could have done anything. But also remember, this is the moment of weakness for Noel because he's like, I have to go and prove myself. I've got to make more good stuff. I've got to prove I'm better than Liam. I'm better than BDI.
I'm better than Oasis.
Was he?
Well, I mean, this album I like a lot. I think it's a good album. There's some really good songs on there as well. Noel's voice is really good. The only thing where I would say is like criticism, I guess, is especially towards the end, it gets a little bit Radio 2 kind of like very, very comfortable sort of slipper wearing.
Yeah.
And that's like not to say there's not really, really good stuff on this, and we'll come back to the Dig Out Your Soul ranking in a minute. But I'm sort of like, there's really good stuff, and then there's a lot of like fillery stuff.
Okay.
And maybe that's a challenge of him having to write the whole album, which obviously for the last few Oasis ones, he wasn't even doing
Yeah,
that.
the
So he
boys
was
chipping in.
that's it. He's like having to come up with however many tracks to fill this thing out. So
What was the big song on that album?
well, the ones I like are Death You and Me, which you must all know. If I Had a Gun is
Yeah.
very good. AKA What a Life is great. And then a couple of the other ones, Dream On and Everyone's on the Run. But they're all from like the first chunk of the album.
Yeah.
Which is why at the end you're sort of
So he's done a first half, bottom half.
yeah.
Classic
Standard
Oasis,
fare, innit?
standard fare, yeah.
And I think the low point of the album, it actually isn't at the end, but he has a song with the lyric, I want to live in a dream in my record machine.
Ooh, very Beatles.
And I was kind of
Poet
like,
laureate. Like,
oh yeah, not for me. And like, yeah, the end is like quite fillery, but I mean, look, can you call it a first effort? It sort of is first effort on his own with like no Liam backing him up, nothing
I don't
else.
think
like,
it is a first. It is a first effort, but it's just he wrote all the Oasis songs. He sang some of them. It's like
Yeah, but by the end he wasn't like, and he was writing for Liam, whereas now he's having to write for himself. And like,
it's a different beast.
on his voice is very good on this, and I think throughout them, I don't know what you think of albums 2 and 3, but his voice is
I actually did, yeah.
very, very strong.
Yeah.
Like throughout his whole High Flying Birds era.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, maybe having to string it out to a full album's worth was a bit too much for old Noel.
Because he kind of had unlimited time to do that, I imagine. It wasn't like, we got to deliver the next Oasis album.
Yeah.
It was like, just take 5 years just to do what you want.
Well, you wonder if he should have done like McCartney, where he just went away and just did it all himself, and just did like all the instruments, everything, and it was just all in his domain.
Instruments? Can he play drums?
He did a
and
lot of
stuff?
drums on some of the other Oasis-y stuff, yeah. Or at least he tracked it. Yeah. Well, I watched a documentary kind of randomly about that first album without having listened to it during the research, and it was a case of, I think he was making it kind of just with no deadline, and then he went into Sunset Studio where like the Doors had famously done stuff, maybe Hendrix at some point, maybe not. And there was another band in there, and that band tweeted, "Oh, Noel Gallagher's doing his thing," and that blew the lid off the secret fact that he was making an album.
Yeah.
So then he had to wrap it up, and then it had to meet all these things.
And that band was Cage the Elephant.
Yeah, I bet.
And that's what they're supporting. They owe him a debt.
So, you happy to wrap up?
And I
what do we
think if you're going to ask me the question, is it better than Dig Out Your Soul? Yes, it is.
Great.
I think it is
Okay.
a lot better than Dig Out
Is
Your
it the
Soul.
third best Oasis album?
No. Have you not
Okay.
heard of Be Here Now?
Or is it the fourth best Oasis album?
Oh, you put me on the spot now. It's up there. The best bits, it's a bit like some of those, like the Heathen Chemistries and the Don't Believe the Truth, where the stuff that's good is actually really, really good.
Right.
Yeah.
And actually, maybe on the second half, the sort of filler is not downright bad like they were on some of them albums. It's just kind of like a bit weak.
Okay.
It's not like, oh, this is really bad. So I'm going to say this would be like a mid-ranking Oasis album.
Okay, good to know. Have you heard anything from the first album? Have you got any
I've
relationship
heard like
to
the
the
singles and stuff. It's like they were on radio a lot, especially when I worked
Down the Pit?
down the pit. It was like always on the radio and stuff. But yeah, it never interesting to me, like the If I Had a Gun kind of thing. But I had a little bit of a listen today as well, at these top 10. I was like, oh yeah, I know these songs, but coming off with Oasis and then doing them, I'm like, oh, a lot of the top 10 are, oh yeah, this sounds like Oasis kind of stuff.
Right.
Which is a good thing.
I guess so.
I think that's a great thing.
It's interesting. Yeah, I guess so, especially with the album that I'm looking at, which we'll end up talking about, is a bit different, and which I appreciate for him going out and doing his own thing, not just doing Oasis without Liam and then just doing all Noel songs, which I'm not a massive fan of only Noel songs. I favour Liam more. Unless you get like "Don't Look Back in Anger," which you can't deny is one of the
best
top
Oasis
three
song.
Oasis songs. But yeah, but one thing that's really putting me off, I've never noticed it once. Maybe we've moved the posters around, but that Liam Gallagher mouth on that poster is insane.
Yeah,
We've got a really cheap
contoured.
print,
Yeah, it's very
but he
cheap.
looks like he's got a cleft palate. But yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's all
I
good.
just
Yeah,
keep looking
I
at
don't know.
it if it's cracking me up.
Well, for the second one then, so that was what I was tasked with. I've actually got a few little facts before we go forward. Danny Boyle, who obviously made the new 28 Years Later, which is the worst film I've ever seen, he chickened out of asking Noel Gallagher to write the music to make his film Millions a musical.
Oh.
So that, because he was asked, someone asked him if he'd ever do a musical, and that came up. So could have been a very different movie, perhaps.
What was he worried he was going to get punched by him?
Probably.
Making a film about a kid who wins the lottery. Oh
Is
no,
that
that's
the plot of
Slumdog
the film?
Millionaire.
He
That's
finds a
Slumdog
briefcase
Millionaire.
somewhere.
Sorry.
They all just
Yeah.
win the million.
Yeah, that's it.
28 years later, the zombie wins a million.
Right, are we ready for Chasing Yesterday, 2015?
What do you think of the
That'd be
title?
ready for it.
Actually, Noel mentioned here that he came up with the title a week before it came out, and he said
I bet he did.
if he could change it, he would change it.
Yeah, I bet
Which
he
is
would.
what he said about a few of the Oasis
Yeah.
ones as well. It's like, just kind of threw it out there.
Yeah.
And yeah. So that was, it's fine.
Chasing Yesterday could be like track 8 on any of the later Oasis albums. That's the sort of like,
It's very like
it's kind of okay.
Beatlesy, like, oh, whimsical, and tomorrow never knows. Like, yeah.
Literally got the word yesterday in it.
Yeah. So you got Mikey Rowe, Ross Pritchard, Chris Sherrock, and Gem Archer on this one. it's about a couple chasing something. That's what he says is the prevailing theme for Chasing Yesterday. Sounds kind of obvious. Apparently he had over 50 to 60 songs for this and he had to whittle it down. So that's kind of interesting going into this.
Ones that didn't make it onto your album.
Well, apparently the first album, not to dwell on that one, but a lot of it is just sort of like leftover Oasis stuff that he kind of had in the back of his mind or the back of his notepad. And maybe when the band was, going tits up, he just was like, I'll just keep a few of these back. Stuff that could have been on Oasis album 8.
It's interesting, this Noel Gallagher solo stuff, because it really allows us to slip in the eye of his mind.
Mark Hoyle said it sounds fucking great, comparing it to Definitely Maybe and calling it seismic.
Well, he's a drunk idiot, isn't he?
Not everything can be Definitely Maybe. In fact, there's one song on here which literally just sounds like Morning Glory, which isn't Definitely Maybe, but it's got that same riff and that same driving riff, and that actually kind of lets it down a bit. 68% on Metacritic. Most journalists pointed out at his age of 47 he was being reflective, and it seemed easy to come up, and I just thought it felt easy to come up with that based on the title. Chasing Yesterday. Oh, Noel's thinking about yesterday.
But is he chasing yesterday in the songs, do you think?
Can I be honest? I didn't really pay attention to any of the lyrics until about track 6.
Well, that's surprising. He was so hung up about Behind the Door in fucking Roll With It.
I've had that in my head.
25 minutes.
I've had that in my head for like 30 years.
You couldn't get anything from this.
I've gone.
This is about him and his wife chasing yesterday.
You guys just said, oh, we're not doing track for track after I've done a track for track on everything. So, I mean, if I want to sum it,
what have you written for the first 5 then? If there's no comments on the lyrics.
Because there was literally a song where it was like, this is the first one that's made me think about the lyrics stood out enough that I was like, oh yeah.
What was this track that made you really think?
I can't see through his glasses.
Have you listened to this album at all?
I've listened to this album 3 times, and I was actually very impressed with this album.
Oh, right. I'm surprised.
The big thing to take away from it, I think the singles let it down, and the album tracks are the strength.
So what were the singles?
I don't know. I've got a review for each of the tracks.
What are the good songs and what are the bad songs?
Girl with the X-Ray Eyes.
Yeah, I remember that song.
I actually really like this one. The Right Stuff. But that he says the right stuff, and it reminds me of that TV show.
Films and TV show names. The Girl with X-Ray Eyes is a film, and The Right Stuff is
a
Channel 5 TV show.
Morning program.
Here's a good one that should sum up. Obviously, my biggest.
Was it This Morning?
My biggest problem with Noel on this whole podcast is the plagiarism. So the first 2 chords of the first song on this are Wonderwall.
Yeah.
So it literally goes ding ding da 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 ding da, and I was like, what? And Pitchfork said it best. The title track, Riverman, is from a Nick Drake song. The groove is from Wonderwall. The first line is from the Beatles' Something. And the brass breakdown is from Pink Floyd's Shine On You Crazy Diamond.
Well, it's nice to give Pitchfork a good mention after we slagged them off the other week.
I went to Pitchfork afterwards to be like, where did they rate this? Because if they gave it a 1 or something, it would have been good to talk about. But no, I really enjoyed this. I thought I didn't have any history with Noel.
Yeah.
So I went into it thinking, it's just going to be more Dig Your Soul. It's going to be some stuff. But great production. I think his vocals are really great. Lots of instruments. There's some like weird sax.
Yeah.
Kind of almost goes a little bit Radiohead with its like crunky sax. And it gets a bit crazy and a bit weird. There's a song where he does a duet. Is that Ballad of the Mighty Eye? You said you knew that one.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah. That was really good.
Big ones, isn't it?
Yeah, very good.
But yeah, I like the production. He plays the studio as ever. The deep cuts gave me more than the singles. If I heard the singles first, I don't think I'd have gone into the album.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I felt about
think
this.
That's my relationship with it, of hearing the singles on the radio. I'm like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
This is radio too.
Yeah.
But isn't that interesting that coming out of Oasis, he can't break that like music industry thing where it's like you have to have a single, you have to have 3 big hits that pull them in. You can't just do I'm gonna do whatever I want and play a 50-minute guitar solo and release it. He has to play the game.
Better men have.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, it's
impactful artists do. Like,
so yeah, I'd absolutely recommend this. There was one in there that was there's a song called "The Mexican," which was added to, which is apparently added to the track list to lighten up the album a bit. But it's just this naff T-Rex riff.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is the cheapest, crappiest thing on here. That was like a Dig Your Soul kind of like, just like throw that on.
Is it about a person who is Mexican, or is it about a Mexican restaurant?
It's about his guitar being a Mexican copy or something.
I don't know. It's a bit Queens of the Stone Age. I didn't listen to the lyrics. But yeah, I enjoyed a lot of this. I thought it was I think the cover really put me off again. Like I always talk about covers. I think it's like the 3 kind of Adidas-y stripes, but it's not Adidas.
Yeah.
And then it's just him
Is that
against
him
the
in a
wall.
white shirt?
Yeah, in a tracksuit thing.
With his
But
sunglasses on.
the way it's
Yeah,
shot,
yeah.
he's really small in the frame, so
Yeah.
he looks really small.
Yeah, but he is small.
Yeah, but you don't
Small
present
Gallagher, they
yourself
call
as
him.
small. You present yourself as a giant. Like,
Giant.
as, to be like.
shoulder.
Yeah, he's
shoulder.
stood on the shoulders.
So yeah, overall, it was better than Dig Your Soul.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the 4th best Oasis album.
Oof. Okay.
I mean, that's not saying much, is it really?
Wow. This
Track
this
for track. There's probably 2 songs that wasn't crazy about. 6 songs I was really surprised by, and 2 songs that you can kind of take or leave.
Given how, and to let our listeners and viewers into a secret, how apprehensive you two were about doing a Noel episode.
Yeah,
we
This
asked.
is two albums in, and they're both bangers.
I've
Basically,
dreaded
is the
this
review so
episode.
I
far.
wasn't looking.
I've
That's
dreaded
why
this
it's literally the
episode.
second to last episode.
Yeah.
We could have done this in.
We might never put it
December.
out.
I just couldn't be asked to listen to Noel Gallagher stuff, but alas, we're here.
Right, well, album 3, eh?
Yeah,
I'm
what you got for
I'm
us?
desperately in need of battery. I'm on 1%. Let's see how far we go.
Speed review. Let's go.
Right, here we go. So, Who Built the Moon, which is the 3rd album by Noel Gallagher, came out in 2017.
Yeah.
I remember hearing this on the radio a lot when I was at work, and I'll go into a bit of Noel Gallagher in my work relation. I've brought it up in the past, but for newcomers. Basically, Noel's had a midlife crisis. This is the midlife crisis album.
right.
This is where Noel finally wants to be free and create something. He wants to do something different. He wants to do something cosmic and weird. I would describe this as like a psych cosmic rock album.
Genuinely psych, or just like it's got a wah pedal on it, so it's like it's a deserty Queens of the Stone Age sluggy.
I read it described as psych. I didn't think
fine.
psych. I'd say more cosmic-y rock kind of sound.
Okay.
Very synthy kind of 70s kind of jingly jangly synths. Weird, like it opens with, it's not an instrumental, but it's like it has them just singing the chorus. It reminds me of like a Gorillaz song. I think there's a Gorillaz song that it kind of sounds like that Noel Gallagher was on. But it reminds me of a Gorillaz song. The drums
Shameless.
sound like a drum loop.
Shameless.
Stealing from himself.
Yeah.
They're literally like drums are like a drum loop almost, like hip hoppy kind of sound. There's like women wailing in it, and then the guitars like kind of reverberating, kind of. It's just very Gorillaz-y. Okay, opener, kind of an interesting full sound. I can imagine being at a gig and getting hyped up from it.
Sweet.
Then my favourite song by Noel Gallagher as a solo artist is Holy Mountain,
Yeah.
which is great. It's got these little flutes in it. It's got this like, I don't know if it's a sample, but it's like these horns in the background, and it's just a jaunty little thing. It's weird. It sounded weird. I remember hearing it on the radio. Being, what the fuck is this? That I couldn't even recognize it as Noel Gallagher. It's like, it's Noel Gallagher, and I was like, oh, that's wicked. It kept coming on the radio, kept coming out, and I was like, yep, that's the best Noel Gallagher song he's put out. Holy Mountain, which is, I'm assuming he watched the film Holy Mountain and was like, fucking hell, I'm going to make
I'm
music.
just gonna
Like,
write that.
He obviously had a period because there's French on it. There's like influences of kind of like weird French kind of psychedelia from like maybe late 70s, early 80s kind of on this. There's like French passages sang on this. So there's stuff on it and it's all right. It's like, okay, he's trying something different here. Like a bit of like with some of the drum kind of sounding things, Stone Roses-y.
Okay.
Some of it's sappy. Like It's a Beautiful World. It's vocals covered in reverb, cosmic guitar.
On that point about the vocals, and I think he does it across all the albums, but maybe that one is the most reverby.
Yeah, it's very...
And it reminds me of like the Vaccines when they came on the scene,
Oh,
and when they sing it is like all reverb.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, I remember at the time
this
being
is
like...
post-vaccines, this album.
Exactly,
as well.
yeah. And I was like, oh, is that kind of like sad Noel's now like copying the Vaccines of all bands as well? Like,
Yeah.
And that's what that always like reminds me of, the reverb on it. But it's like kind of his signature thing as much as theirs now.
Yeah, I guess so. But that was in it, and it's like, it's interesting, and I'm so glad I listened to this one because I feel like I would have been like trudging through these other albums.
Well, maybe not based on what we've been saying.
yeah,
Ooh,
maybe,
3 for 3,
maybe
yeah.
We
not.
are
But
3 for
I
3.
think my preconceived notion is too strong on
Your
this.
notion.
I'm so uninterested in listening to Noel Gallagher albums. Like honestly, I have nothing.
Careful.
I was well keen to listen to Liam albums.
Right.
Noel, I was like, but there was some good stuff on this. I had a note here that She Taught Me How to Fly, which I think was a single. And I believe that was the one that on Jules Holland, there was a woman playing scissors.
Okay.
Like she was playing the scissors on a mic.
Uh-huh.
It's like some French muse that he's made on there, like some
Right.
woman, like hence the influence kind of thing. And the opening of it sounds like it's year 2000 by the Pulp, isn't it?
The Pulps.
The Pulp.
The Pulps.
The Pulp year
Disco
2000.
Year 2000.
The opening of the song sounds
Disco
like
2000.
that. Disco 2000, that's
said
it.
that.
It was year 3000 by Busted.
That's my mistake, because I was like, is it year 3000? But no, that's...
Her
That's all
name
made up
is
in the
Noel. Oh, that's a different.
But yeah, and that opens and it has School Disco 2000 by Paul. On that, you hear the first two chords, you're like, oh, and it's like, no.
Ah.
But maybe this has pulpy elements in it. Like, I'm not very well versed with pulp, as I've just proven. So maybe there's
The Pulp.
hints of that.
The
But I
Pulps.
think maybe you, Tom, have a listen to it.
Yeah, man.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not telling you to if you wanted to in your own time.
Well,
but
yeah.
I think you'd like this album more so. And you'd be like, this is a dynamic change. This is a man who's like finally wanted to do something and be different and be freer. And then he did it. And it was a number one. It was
Nice.
a number one album, like a lot of his albums are. But it was moderately received. And yeah, I don't know if he did anything much more like that after it. Or he got that out of his system.
Well, he definitely didn't judge him by the fourth album.
Ooh.
But I want to hear where it sits in the. Is it better than Dig Out Your Soul?
No, it's not better than Dig Out Your Soul. 'Cause
Oh.
I think Holy Mountain might be one of the best Noel Gallagher songs made. Like, I really like that's probably in the top 10 of Noel Gallagher songs that he's done.
But not better than Dig Out Your Soul.
It's not better than Dig Out Your Soul. No, it's not. It's not better than the Liam Gallagher albums that I listen to.
Okay.
It's
Right, okay.
it's fine. It's fine, and I appreciate this way more than the other stuff that I've heard of his, because he's making an effort here. It's different. He's having a midlife crisis. That's all it sounds.
So
to,
he
'cause he's
found-
never.
He found his freedom,
Yeah.
but it didn't work. So we were kind of saying he's
It's-
leading up to a freedom.
Yeah.
It's probably a better expression of going into something a bit weirder and different than he achieved with any of the Oasis albums, I'd say.
Mucky
I
fingers.
feel like this was like kind of a bit more honed in and a bit more like, okay, cool, you gave it a good effort there, and it kind of worked. Whereas sometimes with Oasis and they try, especially on Giants with some of the songs on that, it doesn't really work all that well. But this one did. But yeah, no, it's thumbs up on that
Thumbs
album.
up. We're going back to the thumbs
not,
up.
It's not better than Dig Out Your Soul, because I was surprised when we went and listened to Dig Out Your Soul that I did enjoy Dig Out Your Soul.
Ah, there we are.
So yeah.
Interesting. So do you want to take us into the fourth and latest album by Noel
Yeah,
Gallagher?
and there is a best of on the way in
right.
between the third and the fourth album, which is like the first 10 years of Nolly G's HFBs.
Oh, so wait, sorry. He's making a best of that hasn't come out yet.
No.
It doesn't include stuff.
No,
from the new
it-
album.
So it's only the first three albums, but I don't know, and it made me think: was it like a lockdown delay thing? Because the Council Skies, the fourth album, doesn't come out until 2023.
Oh, right.
So what was it? Maybe delayed or caught up, and he was expecting to keep doing that sort of like one every 2-3 years thing, and he's like, I just bung a best of out.
Wow.
Which is just like, you probably like the cover because it's sort of like yellowy orange.
Yeah, I think you'd like the
Massive
cover
picture of
for
his
Who Built
head.
The Moon as well.
Yeah, they're like greeny.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
moon on it.
yeah.
I think the moon might be orange, which is
Oh, there we go. I like that.
There you go. Council Skies comes out 2023, and I don't like this album.
Really?
I don't like it.
Why do you think that might be?
Because that earlier sort of like being quite radio 2-y, which there's not necessarily a bad thing,
Yeah.
but this is like just really boring, I think.
Oh.
And I was like kind of surprised in that there's been like high points, I think, on all of his stuff, but it's so safe. It's like such like a safe album, and against the third album where he's obviously like pushing himself, and you know, some of it works, some
So
of it
he's
doesn't.
rewound a bit there.
I just feel like it's like it's very like a consistent sound across it, but to me that drifts into being samey, rather than being like, oh, this is like one epic album. It all has the same sound, which albums obviously can be like. This is just like, oh, this is more of the same. And there are some good songs on there. The song "Pretty Boy" is good. It's a bit timid, I would say. Again, this sort of like middle of the roady stuff. "Open the Door, See What You Find" is good as well.
Oh, what's behind that door? She's
yeah,
not behind
she's
it.
not behind it.
Yeah,
we don't know.
And I just think it's never better than good, this album. Whereas something like A Holy Mountain, even if the rest of that album was bad, which I don't think it is, but it has like a really good high.
Yeah.
I don't think this album like has that high. The best it gets is, that's pretty good, but it's never any better than that. And the worst is just sort of filler to me.
Okay, so have you heard obviously the first, but have you heard the second one at all? Second album? Have you
Yes, yeah.
changed? So
Yeah.
how would you on a graph? Did he go better, then slightly down, then slightly down? Like, was the second one the peak, or was the first one the peak, and then it's been diminishing returns?
I think the first one is great to me. The second one is good.
Okay.
Third one is more of a mixed bag, but has like Holy Mountain.
Yeah.
I agree is possibly his. It's definitely in the top few of his solo stuff, and then this I just think is like way down. Way down.
There we are.
Do you want to ask me the question?
Is it better than Dig Out Your Soul?
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
So we started off really strong there, and we almost got halfway into your discussion before you decided to turn around and say it wasn't any good. So that's fair. That's your opinion. How about this then? Which one would you recommend to someone starting to get into Noel?
First album.
I mean, actually, this doesn't work because I've only heard the second one.
I'd
But I
say-
absolutely would recommend the second one.
I would say Holy Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, there we go then.
Can I tell you about the era? So I've seen Noel twice, and the second, in fact, both times, I think around that album coming out or being in the works. And that is when he pivoted his live set to just being, here's a load of new, like, High Flying Bird stuff. And then the end is just his, like, 6 Oasis songs.
Okay.
Or like, however long the gig, if it's an hour, it's like half and half, or if it's an hour and a half gig. And I'm kind of like, that's an interesting place he was in at the time, where he's now not trying to prove himself as, I'm great. And I think when he started, he obviously was playing Oasis, but it didn't feel like he was dropping them in or ending on that, because it's obviously the high point everyone wants to see. Whereas as he goes on, it's like the year I saw him at Glastonbury was like 6 songs of his, 6 Oasis songs, and that was it.
Wow.
It wasn't mixed in. It was just bang through them.
How did you feel about the Noel songs at the gigs?
Well, that one I actually missed the first little bit of it because he was on before Paul McCartney, so I was getting there so early. He was actually still on. I didn't intend to see him. I wanted to get there when he was sort of finishing, so I could get down the front.
Yeah,
but I was that keen. He was basically only about a third of the way through.
Who were you missing to go see Noel? And who were you watching? Missed the beginning of him, and I'm like, actually, I better get there early.
Oh no, I swear, whatever I've seen on another stage finished up,
Okay.
and then I think it was like, might as well go
Give it
straight
a
there
go.
now. But he was excellent, as he was both the times I've seen him.
Right.
So I would recommend him live. But I mean, we're
going to see him, and the world might see him tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
will we ever hear any of these songs again?
Yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah.
that. I
Like
do
that-
wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, there's going to be a point where the Oasis stuff they have to put a cork in it for a bit,
Yeah.
right? Even
Yeah.
if they do Nebworth 2026, then come 2027 or 8, they're going to want to just like, we'll just do a little Noel
That's
tour,
Yeah.
just like
tail end, isn't it? They'll do
refresh
the
it.
Australia, America stuff.
yeah,
Then they'll do Nebworth. Then they'll be like, right, we're done for another 5 years, and then we'll bring
Yeah.
this old horse out.
yeah. Because actually, like we were kind of saying earlier in the pub, like if like Oasis, like if Ed Sheeran went away or Coldplay went away for 15 years. Coming back, they'd make more money like Oasis have than they probably ever did in their career.
Yeah.
Because that's suspense.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they did this and stopped, and then Noel Gallagher came back in 2030, we'd be like, oh my God, he's back.
Yeah.
And he's going to play
Holy Mountain.
Wonderwall.
Ballad of Mighty
And like,
Eye.
and it would have that value again, that like
Well,
refreshed
it will, yeah.
sense of value. Like,
Yeah.
absolute.
I just think he's going to go from playing arenas down to playing Apollo-sized venues now, because people wanted to go see Oasis stuff, but you couldn't.
Oh,
Now
right.
everybody
He's
who's
broken
going to
the
want to
gate.
see Oasis are going to see them, and they're not going to want to all fly. Oh yeah, Noel's playing whatever. Oh, I saw Oasis a couple of years ago. I think
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are like that.
Or they've got a new generation of fans who maybe didn't get tickets. They're then desperate to
And
go
then
see
They're
him.
desperate to see Holy Mountain. They're desperate to see Go with the X-ray vision.
Yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah, no, I prefer it to Oasis.
Yeah. Well, it's all based on the Mad for It podcast. Surely they've
Yeah.
shown up, they watched it, they got excited. Just like
Noel
we
will
are.
be joining us when he's got nothing on his
yeah,
nothing
Yeah,
on
yeah,
his
we'll-
hands.
We'll start it all
yeah.
up
If,
again.
if you can find some time for not being on Radio X with his mate,
Oh yeah,
Scottish
yeah,
mate.
all the time.
Can I leave you with a bit of
You're leaving us.
trivia
Where you going?
for the episode?
Yeah.
I thought we're wrapping up.
Well, yeah, yeah.
What?
I was hosting, but yeah, go on, mate.
No,
No,
No, egos are hurt. Let him have it. Let him have
It's
it.
my last hosting,
No,
perhaps.
come on,
No,
you-
it's not my last.
You start wrapping up.
I got
and I'll-
nothing
I'll
else.
jump in.
I got nothing else to
Yeah,
say.
just
Jump.
start wrapping up, and I'll just jump.
So
in.
that's it. But then I'm just going to finish the whole thing if I do that.
Well, yeah, but
You're
I'll
gonna literally
just
jump in.
Keep
Well,
this
I'll
in.
just say anything else to say.
I'm keeping this all in. by the way.
Stop yelling!
Well, that's it for the Mad for It podcast. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And we learned
I've got one more thing to say.
Oh, what have you got?
I've got one more thing to say.
What's this?
And Bono from
boy.
the U2.
Bono Vox.
U2s.
He was on Desert Island Discs, and he one of his 6 songs. Is it 6 songs they pick?
Albums, isn't it?
No, it's songs in it.
No, it's albums, right?
Well, one of his 6 songs he picked was a Noel Gallagher song called Dead in the Water, which none of us have heard because it wasn't on any of the albums, and that's because he did it live for some Irish radio station, and then he went, "That is the best I'll ever perform that. I can't even do it again in the studio."
Fuck this. I'm
And
not having this. Bono's favourite thing is a one-time play radio. Fuck this.
So that's it for the Mad For It podcast. Thanks for sticking around. It's the first of the gigs tomorrow. So if you're watching this on the day it comes out,
Josh is on the way there.
Yeah, Josh has already gone. Then, Oasis Fever is in full effect if you're watching this at any point after the night it comes out. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you've enjoyed what we've put together today. And
He's getting in that coach over there, the
it's
Oasis coach, the Weatherspoons bus.
And so cheers for sticking around. Like all the socials and that. And like we said, we're going to rank the albums, and then we're going to be talking about everything Oasis, the gig wise, for the next month or so, and then that's it. We're done. We're fucking done with all this shit. So we will see you next time, and mad for it.
Mad for it!
I am